The second thing was to try to get people to think about planning. Now, I know that anybody that's had any kind of sales training or any kind of business training and goal setting and so forth, that you need to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you're not going to go anywhere. It's like the guy that was taking the airline, flying the airplane, a transatlantic flight, and realized that halfway across the ocean that his GPS, his navigational system, went out. So he calls back to the passengers and says, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. So let me just start with the bad news. The bad news is our navigational system is out. We can't get it started again, no GPS. We have absolutely no idea where we are. We are totally, totally lost. And because we're over the ocean, I can't even look for any landmarks. So we don't know where we are. The good news is we've got a 200-mile-an-hour tailwind, and we're going to get there really fast, wherever that is. The second story to illustrate planning is Jonas Beiler. Jonas Beiler was very blue-collar, worked for a construction company, and he was just a good saver, started saving early and saved, but of course he saved absolutely everything in his 401k, saved nothing outside. Any money that he had outside of the 401k was spent. He got to his retirement, and I don't even know why he came in to see us, except that somebody probably said, maybe you ought to talk to these guys before you proceed with your plan. Because here he was retired, and they lived very modestly, and really, they could live on their Social Security. They could live and maintain their lifestyle. They didn't need any of this money that he accumulated in the 401k. They could live on their Social Security if they didn't have a mortgage payment. So what Jonas wanted to do was he wanted to take the money out of his 401k, and he wanted to pay off the mortgage. Now, sounds good in theory, but anything that comes out of the IRA is going to be taxed, and if you take a big chunk of money out of the IRA, it's going to end up putting you into a higher tax bracket. It's going to make your Social Security tax. Probably not a great idea, because you're going to end up paying 25 or 30% in taxes to save a 5% mortgage or whatever the rate was. But now, you can't just tell people that your idea is dumb. So I don't know if you've had any training with trying to do any consulting with people, but starting off by telling the person they have a dumb idea is not conducive to a relationship. So you need to be tactful. You know, it was like the young couple that were having their first child, and they already knew that it was a girl, and the young mother said to the father that, I want to name the girl Penelope. Now, the guy hated the name Penelope. But very tactfully, he said, Penelope is a wonderful name. As a matter of fact, I had dated a girl in high school, Penelope, and every time that I hear that name, it will invoke fond memories. She said, we're going to name it Elizabeth, the child Elizabeth. So with Mr. Beiler, what I did was I showed him how we could do this, and fortunately, he qualified for 10-year averaging, and we were able to end up paying off his mortgage. And it would not have been ideal, because my point in planning is that if we would have known that this was an objective, and I think it's an admirable one, that when we get to retirement, that we have the money accumulated and that we're out of debt. I think that's a good goal for most people. And so we could have started planning 10 years ago. Why put the maximum in the 401k? Why not take a little bit of it? We could have figured this out mathematically, how we could have had the mortgage paid off by the time that he was ready to retire, and we wouldn't be put in this situation where we're taking all this money out of the 401k and end up paying higher taxes, when probably we could have leaked the money out of the 401k over the next several of years and not paid any tax on it whatsoever, because really all they had for taxable income was Social Security, which isn't taxed if you keep your income low enough. So I wanted people to start to think about planning.